This is my review of Finding Bigfoot, the preview episode. The principals were Matt Moneymaker, Cliff Barackman, James Bobo Fay, and Renee Holland. Location was Georgia on this episode. They analyzed video footage taken from a dash cam in a sheriff's deputy vehicle from Lumpkin County, Georgia. Chattahoochee Forest is the area in the northeast part of the state. The team is primarily there to examine the videotape of the possible squatch crossing the road. Renee is the skeptic on the team who thinks the film may be a hoax. Mary Scott was the passenger in the state patrol vehicle that took the footage. The officer in question turned the car around and got out after the creature ran across the road in front of them, but didn't see anything. Measurements were being taken of the area as well as determining its speed. Bobo is the volunteer who acts as a squatch. BFRO team's analysis shows it looks to be a squatch that crossed the road due to the stride of the creature compared to Bobo's. The team is going to split up into groups of two. They split up into groups of two to see what they can pick up. They use thermal imagers to penetrate the dark of night in their efforts. Matt vocalized a long vocal howl sound, as did Cliff, although Cliff's is more of a scream. No sound reciprocates except possible wood knocks. Moneymaker claims he's the one who figured out that squatches do wood knocks. He's the one that figured it out first, I should say. The team decided to leave their lights on while leaving the area. Bobo and Cliff had a big branch break or a rock thrown close to them. In Helen, Georgia, several local witnesses were rounded up for information. One witness made the claim that the one she saw smelled like raw sewage. Photos of prints taken a month before were also presented, and the sightings are mapped out to determine a pattern of behavior. A lady named Janet saw one cross the road on Thanksgiving night. She ruled out bear and human as a possible source of what she saw. It made a slow turn toward her car with its head, then took off. Bobo once again volunteers to show an estimate of height and where it was in relation to her sighting. The creature was measured at 9 foot 8 inches tall. Cliff and Renee went to the spot where the tracks were found, while John took Bobo and Matt into his area of activity. John described being pelted with rocks which missed him, bowling ball size. Darla was the lady with the print photos which were shown on the program. Cliff and Renee go to the spot where the tracks were found, with Jeff Allison as their guide. John describes his sighting to Bobo and Matt. He and his companion that day had a large log thrown at them from the top of the hill. John didn't come back to the area for a year. Moneymaker is skeptical of John's story. Cliff and Renee find some fresh tracks in the same area where the tracks were photographed. The stride length is pretty incredible. The team takes a vehicle onto the roads close to the sighting areas. Actually, they had a caravan of vehicles to do a scan to see if there is any wildlife of the squatchy variety. They find, well, watch for yourself to see. Pros, Cliff and Bobo and their scientific approach. Renee's an analytical skepticism. Cons, Matt seeming to dismiss an eyewitness's account of a human-like face of a squatch. All in all, not too bad of a program. I would give it, 2.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't too bad. It was fair to good. I wouldn't call it great. I know Bill Green would call it great. So it was a great show. I don't think so. I don't think it was great. Good, fair to good, yes. Great, no. And Bill Green might disagree with me. That's fine. I'm going to say fair to good. I'm not going to say great. It was, well, I would say fair. Yeah, fair to good. Yeah, that's what I would call it. Fair to good. It was not great, but it was fair to good.